Shalom, call all Yahweh Shem Shah. Shalom to the left. That's just a quick video. I was looking at the video that Apostle Tahar uploaded on Barakathon to Apostle Tahar for making this video. He said something there. I thought about another video that I seen a while ago, I should say. And they was actually mentioning how Iran and Russia, they weren't really trying to deal with the U.S. currency. They was actually trying to get a gold-backed system, or a gold-backed currency. And they weren't really trying to deal with the you-know-what. I ain't going to say the actual name just in case so they don't take the video down. But usually when a war is started, it start off financially. So countries will be under sanctions and this is a video that he just put up recently. And I ain't even finished watching it. I just heard that one part. I'm like, hold up. Let me go to this video real quick while it's fresh in my mind. And I'm about to play in a minute. But anyway, usually when war start up, it's a financial war. They'll fuck with a person. Financial system so bad, their food system and all this other stuff, their trade system, to the point of where they ain't got no choice but to go to war. Or they could do something stupid and then that war pop up. The third war was just gonna be fought with nukes. Let me let this video play. And I was laughing as I watched it. It's funny because these people, they don't really have no idea about how this stuff really gonna take place. But they saying stuff knowing that it's gonna take place though. Because one thing the scripture say, the expectation of the wicked is wrath. Let me get that real quick. Let me get that real quick before I let this play. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse, let me see, verse 23, it says, the desire of the righteous is only good, so we desire good things. Certain men on this earth desire good things. They expect to rule, expect to be in a righteous state, to be in a balanced state on the earth. But the wicked, it said, but the expectation of the wicked is wrath. And see, people doing all type of bullshit and nonsense. That's why sometimes you tell people about these scriptures or whatever. They don't want to hear it because they know they're not trying to stop doing all that wicked ass shit they be doing. They want to keep doing it. Like I was talking to somebody about this recently. They was like, yeah, if I do one sin, I might as well do them all. And that's a dumb way to be thinking. That's not wise. Let me see. Let me go down to verse. Let's see. It's another verse I want to go to. Verse 27, it says, he that diligently seeketh good, procure favor. And that's what you want to do. You want to have favor in the Most High sight. Because once this shit go down, because it's going down, all that bullshit talking about, oh, it ain't going to happen, and this, you got the little prayer groups talking about they going to pray it away and all that. No, it's already prophesied what's going to happen. It's just like you know football coming on Sunday. Hey, certain men know these prophecies going to come to pass too. Now it says, he that diligently seeketh good procure favor, but he that seeketh mischief, it shall come to him. I'll let this video play real quick.
I love playing frisbee with my sons.
I love the sound of the waves on the Pacific at sunrise.
I love curling up with a good book.
I love to see my grandkids smile.
But if Congress sabotages the nuclear deal with Iran,
We could be denied the very moments that make our lives worth living.
Why?
because we'd be dead.
Super dead.
Like totally fried by a major nuclear bomb dead.
I won't be able to play frisbee with my sons because there won't even be a frisbee. The frisbee will be melted.
All right, let me pause that real quick. Man, look, man. They better get right. And this was made 6 years ago. This ain't even recent. There's another video I was looking for, but I just happened to click on this. Like, let me click on this and see what Morgan Freeman got to say about this deal, right? Let me go to this. in the book of 2 Peter, chapter 3. Let me see. I'm sorry, verse 3. It said, knowing this first, that there should come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lusts and saying, where's the promise of his coming? Because you got people to say that, like, oh, people have been saying he's going to come back, he's going to return. I was dealing with this one chick, she was into that Buddhism and whatever, Hinduism shit. She was bugged out, but she was talking about that people that believe in they sky daddy, they crazy. And I'm listening to her like, no, you crazy. You don't even know what's really going on. All them other books and all that stuff ain't got prophecies in them. Like this guy right here said, let me run it back one more time. Listen to what he say, and listen to what the precept say.
We'll play Frisbee with my sons because there won't even be a Frisbee. The Frisbee will be melted.
We will be melted.
Or worse.
Mm-hmm. And what the scripture say though? Now it says, reading on still, in verse 4 it says, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? But since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of Yahweh the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water, and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed where water perished. But the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against that day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. And he ain't say everybody, because everybody not ungodly. Now it says, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. So just because it seems long, like it's taking forever to you, it ain't taking that long to the Most High. It says, the Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to us. We're not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. So he basically prolonging it to give people a chance, just hearing it, so they can be like, man, I ain't even hear about that. I ain't know about that. You know how niggas be, they get it caught up in something. I ain't even know. The whole time they knew. They heard. Verse 10 it says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Now listen, keep listening to what they're saying.
Toasted?
Yes, Natasha, but most people think toast is delicious. This would not be that kind of toast. It would be like a really dark, unpleasant cloud of death toast.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa!
We're not actually worried about Iran dropping a nuclear weapon on the United States.
Holy sh**. Is that...
Yes, Jack, it's me, Queen Noor from Jordan.
Look, it is true that if Congress sabotages this deal, there would be nothing stopping Iran from getting the bomb. That would likely spark an arms race throughout the region.
Precisely, Ambassador Pickering.
Ultimately, we could be forced into a war with Iran, another dangerous, drawn-out, and expensive conflict in the Middle East with many lives lost.
So wait, are you saying that instead of a quick toasting type of death, that in a war with Iran, maybe a lot of people would die much more slowly? Like if they were put into, say, an immense crock pot for a really, really long time?
Natasha, I don't think you need a surrealistic food metaphor to comprehend the sheer recklessness.
Hey, but look, the metaphors in the scriptures, though. Let me read on some more. Verse 11, it says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved. That sounds like some food. You put some food in a pot, some herbs and stuff, that should get dissolved. Let that water sit in there too long and get dissolved. Now it says, what manner of persons are you to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hastening to the coming of the day of Yahweh, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. And that's what real men want. Because this whole setup is basically against us, for real, if you really look at it. Now, other people get caught up in it too. Don't get it twisted, because you have some people be sensitive and say, well, what about this and what about that? But primarily, they want to do away with our people, our nation. And how you do away with a nation? You take the men out, and everything else fall behind it.
Of a war with Iran. Once the war begins, the chances of Iran developing a nuclear weapon would only increase.
Wait a second. That's Valerie Plame. Valerie Plame is in this flipping video. Valerie, do you know that because you're a spy?
I'm not going to answer that question, Jack.
I think what Valerie is saying is that the agreement currently on the table is the best way to ensure Iran doesn't build a bomb.
Well, Mr. Morgan, They might not even have to build that shit. They just buy that shit from Russia.
And it gives the international community unprecedented access to verify that Iran is keeping up its end of the bargain.
A strong deal built on international diplomacy is the
I got a video I had queued up. I'm gonna go to it in a minute. Just once this ends, give me 1 minute.
best way forward.
And the alternative to that is war.
War with Iran is a really bad idea.
The worst idea ever.
Look, we all love our children, and the Iranians love their children.
And we've got a deal on the table that keeps us all safe.
Do me a favor, okay? Don't let some hot-headed member of Congress screw that up.
Because playing politics with our national security is actually not all that funny.
Call Congress.
And see, look, they got this number called Congress. Congress don't give a fuck, because you know why? When this go down, they're gonna be in bunkers. They're gonna be in those space hotels or the ISS space station or whatever other shit they got out there. They got underwater cities and caves and shit, so they can go hide out. That's why. Let me get this preset real quick. Congress don't give a fuck. And people want to be stupid and listen to them. And then you act like you don't want to listen to them. They look at you like you're crazy. No, it's the book of Revelation, chapter 6. Let me see. All right, here we go. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 12 says, And behold, and I beheld, when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. The reason why it's going to be a great earthquake, because once they drop, stuff going to shake. It says, and the sun became black as sackcloth. Now, let me run this back, what he said in this video. He even mentioned it. What I said.
But most people think toast is delicious. This would not be that kind of toast. It would be like a really dark, unpleasant cloud of death toast.
Yeah, why did he say that, though? Now it says, black as sackcloth up here, and the moon became his blood. And the reason why the moon don't look like that, because he have been somewhere, especially down south, when trees and stuff be on fire in the forest, or in the woods, wooded area, I should say. And you look up at the moon, look up at the sky, the moon look red, like it's blood. Now it says, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it's rolled together. Now I would go to the picture, but I want to try to make this video quick. You can go search the picture up and look at how a nuclear explosion look. It looks just like a scroll rolling, or being rolled together. Now it says, every mountain and island will move out of their places, and the kings of the earth, and the great man, and rich man, and the chief captains, which will be considered your Congress, your governors, your senators, your ambassadors. What else? Your mayors, if they get put in the mix. It says in a mighty man, military, certain military branches. It says in every bondman, every free man. Because you have people that have bunkers, that actually have money, that go buy bunkers. You go look it up online. People been buying bunkers. Got certain churches that got bunkers. It says, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come. Who should be able to stand? The only one's going to be able to stand is the elect. And on the contrary, the elect of the least, because somebody got to get put into captivity first. Somebody got to pay their tax here. They ain't gonna escape and just ride off into the sunset. Now let me find this other video real quick. I made a video on this some months ago. Now, they got a whole city ever since then, up until now, from 6 years ago. They got a whole city. They call the city fucking Missile City.
Want to join the six-figure club? Google and other tech companies are hiring hundreds of thousands of workers.
And it's just them, because like, let me see. Let's go book Ezekiel real quick. Because they not the main